How's that, yeah? I couldn't get into that vibe of that music. We'll get into this right here. Smooth sounds of the source. All right, let's change the background since you know we here. We're gonna go with the virtual background. Let's do the virtual background. We'll go with the source right here. Let's go with the source, man. There we go. We'll go with the source background today. You know we live and direct on the flesh, man. So happy Friday the 13th, man. Do you guys, Friday the 13th, the movie, Jason Voorhees. Do you guys really get down on Friday the 13th? Remember, it's like something supposed to be a bad luck day and all kind of stuff. Are you guys into that? You guys, like me, it is what it is, right? But today is the 13th. It is also the kickoff to Father's Day weekend. 2 in the building. Hopefully you came right in and smashed the like button, man. Hit the like button. The likes are free, man. But we're going to start the show off. We're going to premiere source work. I just dropped a video that I remember a lot of people clowning me, right? When I was Jackal Fitness. About it now, but you talk about the views, but I run circles around you guys that do views in real life. In real life, I'm like, I lapped you guys, respectfully. I lapped y'all, man. But I remember saying that I was going to do a lot of things that I'm actually doing now, right? And a specific piece. Let me get my notes up here and start checking these over. Once I talk about it, it's over. A specific piece, right? A specific piece that I watched, right? And none of my executive producers sent this to me. I seen it myself. Tyler Perry, right? Spoke about dreams and ambition and having a goal, tunnel vision. And I was like, man, that doesn't sound like what I've been saying for the longest about the tongue is powerful and speaking your stuff into existence. And, that's what I did, man. I took this into existence, man. And talking into existence, I'm really walking my path. Just trust the process, right? But check out what Tyler Perry said, and we'll break this down together. Yes, together. How is the content looking now?
Lock in your vision. Let persistence and belief defy criticism and challenges.
Yes, the news by Shanu. So I want to drop a pre-recorded video before I start the live stream podcast. We've been expanding on the content, just putting out different type of videos and content. So a Tyler Perry interview hit the mark for me, right? It talked about, being locked in basically on your vision and blocking out the naysayers, the haters, the people that always kill the content crabs, just the people that don't see your vision. Take the glasses off, put back on your vision, right? Now, when you get locked in on your vision and you talk things into existence, I know I have talked a lot of things into existence. media marketing management. Yes, I'm a young manager, a young agent. I do a lot of things behind the scenes, but I spoke that into existence. And even when the people that was supposed to support didn't support, I didn't care. I just kept throwing it in their face and speaking on it. They always try to critique the content. How's the content looking now? How's the setup look now? I started off on one of these. Now, wow, you guys can't even afford my company to cover your events. Yeah, because I don't work for free, I'm sorry. I have a catalog that speaks volume, so why would I work for free, right? Hopefully y'all caught that source. But once again, shout out to Tyler Perry. I'm gonna share the video. Great insight on tunnel vision. Stay locked in, and the tongue speaks power. You do have options. How is the content looking now? Yes, how's the content looking now, man? But listen to Tyler
If you have a mindset and a mentality of what you cannot have, you never will. If you are able to adjust it, no matter where you came from, no matter what your people said to you, no matter how bad it was, none of that matters. If you can get your mind around a dream, a goal, a possibility, it will become your life. I am sitting here, I'm getting chills talking to you guys. I'm sitting here as a living witness. I'm telling you, there's no reason other than the grace of God that I'm sitting here in the position that I am in today.
Damn. Y'all catch that, man? I had to start the show off with that,
Unlock
man.
your vision, speak it into existence, live your dream.
Man,
Lock
y'all
in your
catch
vision.
that, man. I had to start the show off with that, though, man. Yo, you know why I had to start the show off with that? And for those that catch it, and for those that don't, I've been around the world, right? I started a media company with one of these. Even when powerful people, still to this day, try to undermine, go after things that I have accomplished and grown. I've been around the world as a media guy, one of these. I started a company over 15 years ago with one of these. People talked about my content. Over the last 2 years, I've been to many different states: Oklahoma, North Carolina, Ohio, list goes on and on. Covering boxing, I started out with one of these. I always said that even when these people talked about, oh, nobody watches me, oh, you're a liar, you're not this, you're not that, I stayed locked in the tunnel vision. I drove across the border to Canada, and all these things. Look, I started out with a media company with one of these. Still to this day, right now, you have content creators that come online still trying to compete with me as content makers. I started a media company with one of these. This brand right here, you just seen it on ESPN last week on a future world champion fighter. I started out a media company with one of these. Even when people told me that I wasn't solid, oh, it's over. I started out a media company on one of these, and that media company led to me getting a fighter signed who's about to have his 17th professional fight co-main event, receive his highest payday to date next Saturday in Newark. I started out a media company with one of these, and guys that sit online that try to ignore my work or act like they competing with me. Now, like I said, they can't even hire my services. You can't afford my services because I do not work for free. And I started out a media company, one of these. This brand has been on ESPN too many times to count. All that after people told me that I wasn't solid, right? That I wasn't official. Like I said, just last week, shout out to Transformer Troy Isley, doing the logo on ESPN. I was trying to negotiate for other people to get their logos and brands on Abdullah Mason's trunks. But when I told them the price of $15,000, it scared them off. I bet you they wish they purchased that now, because he's about to be a world champion. And I think that if you would have locked in with 15 racks then, right, you might have been locked in. So how much do you think the price is going to be now once he becomes the WBO champion? You get a brand, a business on this. I started out a media company with one of these. How is the content looking now? It's 2 in the building. Don't be scared to talk. Don't be scared to talk. Comments are free. I'm not asking you for $1. Comments are free. Hopefully you hit the like button. Hopefully you hit the like button. But how is the content looking now? How's it looking now, y'all? How's the content looking now? But that was Tyler Perry, man. I felt that message. Tyler Perry said he got the chills. I got the chills too. I also got the chills. Yes, it is Friday the 13th. Father's Day weekend, man. Shout out to all the dads out there, man. This is all week. Real fathers, protectors, providers, nothing else like that, man. If you're just a sperm donor, celebrate too. Just reflect on, are you taking care of your business or not? Right? Hey, what do I know, man? So we do have some boxing matches taking place tomorrow night at the Hoover Theater. A lot of tickets still available. Both fighters have made already. I don't know if you guys seen that, but both of the fighters have made weight. They usually, like I said, they do the weigh-ins in the morning. And I believe this is an IBF fight. So Richard Hitchison can only be 150 pounds tomorrow morning when they do the next day weigh-in. George Kambosos, I believe, 149. Because these guys weighed in. Richard Hitchison was 140, George Kambosos was 139. So. But yeah, we got to fight, man. We got to fight. A lot of shenanigans going on out there. I dropped a video on that. People were asking me why I did not cover. Like, I'm old. They were like, yeah, you coming to the weigh-in or what? I don't have a horse in the race, nor am I being paid. I don't do pro bono work. A lot of you guys that do, we just throw you in the way. You're in your own way now. Because like I said, if you check this out for that, if you cover boxing, right? Big boxing events too. Shout out to Matchroom. Matchroom is a big time promotional company. They have a budget, right? Wait, then I'll figure it out. I will get the board. The board is over there, but I'm kind of lazy. I don't feel like walking around and getting right there. But yes, these companies have a budget, marketing budget, right? Advertising budget. So just know this for you guys that are freelancers, you guys that are just out there in the room, you want to go live, you go live. Whatever, social media via Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube. When you go to this event, you go live. Getting your content. Hopefully your channel is monetized, so you are trying to receive some type of increment. But when you do this, right, now you are turning into a free pro bono worker for these companies that have a budget for marketing as well as advertising. Now, some people are getting paid, just not. Hopefully, you are one of them. If you're not one of them, you need to be more like me. Know your worth and know your value. Right? See, I love it. And look, a lot of you guys laughed at me, right? Let's laugh at y'all now, right? Remember, I'm Mr. No Views, right? I don't cover shit for free. You guys do all these views. Not only do you work for free, you have no motion. No motion. Why do you guys? You guys been doing this shit for so long. Where's y'all merchandise? Right? I'm not talking about single pieces. Because a lot of you guys, get a shirt made or something that go there with your name. Where's your merchandise? See, I think that's another reason why others that are in the game are intimidated by me, because not only do I promote my company, I promote my merchandise, my goods and services, and then you have others that I call supporters. I don't call fans. I call supporters that I can post. Different regions, now countries, representing my business and brand. Yeah, man, so I don't work for free. I don't work for free. So hopefully you guys that are out there aren't either, but I know a lot of you guys are. It's so obvious. That's why you feel the way you feel about certain content, the way I deliver my content. Then especially how I speak on my content. When I say I'm on a different level, right? Because the reason why I say I'm on a different level, even though they gave me my flowers, paid me, Earl Spence, former PBC superstar fighter, I was behind a lot of his stuff. And he was the superstar fighter. You see what I said? I gave him his flowers, right? So if a lot of my stuff they use, right, that just let me know that I was great, that I was really a giant, right? You know what really confirmed it for me? And I think that's why a lot of these guys that are online hiding in the bushes really feel some type of way. When me, along with others, it was a collective thing, but a 17-year-old kid, right, got signed to the major leagues at 17, and I was an instrumental part of that. That was right there that really, you couldn't tell me nothing after that, right? And I think I showed my accolades to that out there. I showed I had made the transition, right? And I spoke about that. I think that's why a lot of these club fighter guys, because to each his own, but where Jihad Tucker is, what he was able to do at 17, certain fighters go a whole career, lifetime, never making it to the majors. He got to the majors at 17. 17 years old, man. Right? So when I came on here popping and talking my source, right? A lot of you guys were upset, especially you guys that, like I said, never made it there. And you've been in the game forever and a day. The one particular international guy, he's a sucker. You're showing on yourself, man. You're all on Instagram going hard, trying to push your fighters. That's what you should have been doing. Don't be mad at me for pushing my fighters and people that I work with and speaking on what I've done, what I've accomplished. You need to do that, but I can't wait to run into you in traffic, brother. Because you're gonna apologize. God already showed you. You're gonna be on your knees, man. You're gonna be on your knees, man. Because and I don't take people to court. I could have took you to court. This is defamation of character, man. When you talk crazy on a brand, a business, that's defamation of character. But I don't do that. I'm not a sucker. I hold court a different way. The hand of God. Just know that, man. But when a lot of you guys sit online and you talk down on this right here, that's defamation of character. Especially if we never have done business. Right? If you're just, like I said, if you are just a fan in the bushes, you don't like me, you talk down on this right here, and we just seen this right here last week on ESPN. I never done business with you, right? We had no dealings, no contract, no bonding agreements, and you talk down on me. I can take you to court for defamation of character, but I don't do that. If you know the court that I'm cut from, we're gonna go to court. Yeah, we're gonna go to court. It's a different court. The hand of God court. That's neither here nor there. How's the content looking, yeah? How's the content looking, man? Don't look, y'all are in here and y'all not commenting, man. So when y'all come up in here and y'all just be ear hustling and watching, I just fall back, right? Because I already know. You're in here just ear hustling. So now you sit around here and you ear hustle. I'll just pause it for a second.
Shout out Showtime Shot News, y'all. This is Kyle Mellon. Holla at me.
Yes, holla at me. How is the content looking now, man? How are we looking, man? Talk to me, I'll talk back, man. So, quick question. Why are you over here? For the two that's over here and this one, and the two that's over here in the back, why are you over here? What do you want to talk about, man, before I proceed? Why are you over here? Right? Because remember, I was the content creator that nobody watched. Remember, that was like, what's my man, Handyman? I call him Handyman, aka Dirty Dan. Somebody needs to roll you into a bath. Right? That guy used to always talk about me only doing 5 views. I don't think you've been to 5 shows, homie. I don't think you've been to 5 shows, man. You talking worried about me doing 5 views. My daughters, either one of them, been to more shows than you. Been a part of more fight camps than you. Probably interviewed more fighters than you in person. Yeah, my daughters. But you were so fixated on my views.
Like raw fish.
So one day you'll get your palate used to that raw fish. Gotcha. What's that? What else you got for me?
What's your favorite place to go?
Favorite place to go is the beach. I love the beach, yo. Anywhere if there's a beach nearby, I love to go there, relax, walk along the beach, barefooted, get my feet dirty. Yeah, I'll stick my foot in the water. I don't go in the water though. These sharks and stuff in there, I don't mess with that. Alright?
Play basketball.
Hey, look at my height. I'm short.
No,
I can't play no basketball.
Yes, you can.
No.
I believe you can.
Yes, I believe you can. Shout out to Tim Bradley. That's not a CEO on the side, man. That's just a couple of her accolades early in the game. She has finals next week. She's an honor roll student. She kind of does her own thing now. Actor, actress. She's an actress. She's a Glee Club. She does her own thing. Coach Reed. Yes. But it's Friday the 13th, right? So I'm going to go over here. If you was watching me earlier when I was running around, running a couple of errands, I spoke about George Kambosos' team, saying the fact that the tickets wasn't selling, right? I believe they might have picked up a little bit, but I don't know how much, right? But they both have made weight. Now, the ceremonial weigh-in hasn't taken place yet, but they have made weight. 139.4 Kambosos, 140 even for Richard Hitchens. So, like I was saying, the significance of that is this is an IBF fight. So with this being an IBF fight, it's a 10-pound rehydration. 10-pound rehydration. So 149 for Kambosos tomorrow morning, 150 for Richard Hitchens. That's kind of rough, right? You got when you make weight, right? And check this off now. Talk about this, right? When you make weight after a long moving weight cut, making weight, you just want to get down. You know what I mean by get down? You want to get your fluids in you. You want to start eating. And you just want to start feeling normal again, right? But when you still have to, look, you could put on 10 pounds, right? I'm going to tell you, this is why I know I've been around this. Yo, he could put on 10 pounds just off of fluids alone. Once he starts getting his fluids, have one decent meal. So he still got to watch his weight. That's why I was never a real big fan of the IBF. You know, never a real big fan of the IBF. What the IBF does, right? The young boys is in here. Shout out to the YNs. They checking me out. You know, I come in here in disguise now, right now. I'm just chilling, man. It's Friday, right? But 10 pounds is easy to you know, clips. So it's still like you're monitoring your weight. But I know they can't wait until the next, like after they do that weigh-in. But then it's kind of risky, man. I'm telling you. If you know, you know. How many of you guys, you know, I know a lot of y'all are super fanned out. Y'all sit around and y'all congregate together and y'all talk this. Have you ever actually been a part, experienced this on that level? Have you ever experienced this? Or no? Because like I said, when you put the weight on like this, the weight, you know, Pedialyte, Gatorade, water. I'm not gonna talk about the sauce form. You know, putting certain fluids in you, the weight is gonna come right on. Things that make you go. Speaking of weights, Long Boots Ennis. Now I did want to go out there and link up with Bosley, but I was like, you know what? I'm not really big on doing interviews. I text Bosley, said what's up, wish them best of luck with Andy Cruz. But Long Boots Ennis, you guys didn't see yesterday. Eddie Hearns said he's going to be meeting with him next week. I think Bosley has done an interview. It looks like he's out of 147. It's like 147 now. So with him leaving 147, the IBF belt will be vacated, right? The WBA as well. Now, the significance of this is the WBA, because didn't Rolly and Ryan fight for an interim belt, right? Like a secondary belt. So will the WBA elevate Rolly to their champion? At 147, right? So pay attention to this now. I'm gonna give you guys some gems. There's 3 people over here, 3 over here. If you run with my gems, just give me a shout, man. It's free, right? So just say Rolly is elevated now, right? To the champion once Juwan Ennis makes it official. It goes up to 154. The PBC now will be a major power player once again in the welterweight division. You know why? Because regardless of the outcome of the Barrios Pacquiao fight, which is going to be for the WBC, right? The PBC will have the WBC and the WBA champions underneath their banner. Now, the reason why I'm speaking on this and the significance of this is next Thursday, I think it is Thursday over there, Friday morning for us, Juneteenth. Brian Norman Jr. will be defending his WBO belt in Japan. Are you guys following this? He will be defending that belt in Japan. Now, the significance of that is, remember, he wanted to unify with Boots. Boots had 2 of the belts. That would have, the winner of that fight, and shout out to the Normans, the father said that he would have stopped Boots. That would have gave Brian Norman basically or Boots, whoever would have won. The Thanos. Yes, they would have had 3 of the 4 stones. Now the stones are going to be scattered. A lot of the stones are going to be on the PBC side. I don't know the particulars with the IBF, who is next in line for the IBF, right? But I do know that the PBC will definitely have the WBA and the WBC, man. Because in all likelihood, Rolly will be elevated, right? Isn't that how it works? But somebody let me know. Yeah, over here, how is the content looking now? Man, I wish those guys would have fought. So now, right, PBA, right, with Boots vacating, the path to undisputed becomes a lot harder, literally, for Brian Norman, unless another fighter can gain unified status with 2 of the belts, right? So now he's gonna have to take out 2 PBC fighters possibly. I don't see Brian Norman jumping up no time soon, right? Right? They're making their mark right now. If he is successful defending his belt in Japan, that's going to give him a lot of clout as an international stepper, right? I'm pretty sure he's going to want one of those guys, either the one of the Barrios, Pacquiao fight, especially one of those guys, right? Maybe if it's Pacquiao, that's a big fight for him, the name alone, right? 46-year-old Pacquiao, I see Brian Norman stopping him. I think if Brian Norman lands one of those bombs on that old nigga, respectfully, he's 46, man. I think Brian Norman's dad is that age, right? How old is Senior? We can look it up. Does anybody know? That's like him fighting his father, man. Senior might be 46, man. Senior's up there. I think Brian Norman to stop Pacquiao. Pacquiao defeats Mario Barrios, which he may not. I don't think he can do it. My money's on Barrios. If Barrios lets that old man whoop his head, he doesn't deserve to be the champion. He doesn't. Remember, they tried that shit with Ugas. Ugas had no parts in that shit. Remember? Now they're bringing him back years later, right? But this does kind of, like I said, if he is successful next week, the table is set for him, but he's just going to have to run the gauntlet. Because if they elevate Rolly, I think Brian Norman Jr. can stop Rolly. The only real threat that was there for him was Boots. But now Boots is no longer there, right? But the other 2 champions, whether it is Pacquiao or Barrios winner, or Rolly, if he's elevated, I think Brian Norman can run the table on those guys. I think he can, right? But the only wild thing is now, right? Pay attention. I want you guys to catch this. Is how many of those 140 guys, you know who I'm talking about now, right? We got to throw these guys in here. Now you see, I didn't put none of this in my thumbnail because I know how these YouTube guys get down. They would have seen my title, my thumbnail, and they would have tried to run with it. So now they're going to have to watch this or act like they didn't watch it to come on and talk about it. But 140 guys, right? You know what I'm talking about? The Haney fought at 144. We see Bill on his what was my man's name in Rocky? Touch Me in Our Suit. That's Bill right now. That's Bill. Bill is that Don King character. Touch Me in Our Suit. He's out there right now campaigning, popping, right? Bill, you said I was popping, Bill, so I'm gonna always say you're popping it. Right? You out there right now, the front lines popping it with security, right? You're outside, right? But we have Devin who fought at 144, right? That's right there. He probably will try to make the move now at 147. We also have Teofimo Lopez, who wanted to fight Boots. Remember that at 147. So I'm pretty sure these guys are definitely now with Boots clearing out of there on the 154. I'm pretty sure you will see Devin. You will definitely see Tio. Definitely see these guys trying to jump in that water at 147. But my thing is this, right? Like I said, I had to run in with Brian Norman Sr. for, because, a lot of times people judge you off of content, right? But I still think if these guys, Haney, Tio, all these 140 guys attempt to try to jump in that water right now, especially if he's successful, Juneteenth in Japan, Brian Norman Jr. is the king, man. Do not let these young invaders coming in from 140 attempt to get in your way. Now, the guy and look, this is all in my notes here, right? Who they are trying to groom, and I know this from a reliable top ranked source, right? Is Tiger Johnson. And after Tiger's last performance, and shout out to his coach, PJ Prentice, he said if they throw him in there with you now, they're ready. I don't think they're ready. Right now, I think Brian Norman Jr. is the king. And he's getting confidence. If he wins next week, which I think he can, you got to carry that confidence. So all of these guys are going to try to evade 147, but you definitely, right now, are in the driver's seat with Boots exiting out. Right? Because like I said, they are grooming Tiger Johnson for you over there at Top Rank. This is all of my notes. I'm official with this shit now, right? They are also grooming the Dominican, Rohan Polanco, but I don't think those guys could do nothing with you right now, Brian Jr. I don't think so. You have the X factor. You can crack. And like I said, I don't think they're like my man, Electric Boogie. Right? I'm not gonna sit on here and break down a fight or a game plan, because game is to be sold and not told. But my money would be on you against Tiger right now. Also against Rohan Polanco, who is over there with you with Top Rank, who they are trying to line up against you as well. And like I said, the invaders, whether it is Devin Haney or Tio or any of these other guys that's trying to invade your land, your territory, I don't, especially Devin. I think if you crack Devin, after what we just seen with Dev fighting Jose Ramirez, and you are a young alpha where I think you can trap him, cut the ring off, and land something, right? You don't have old Jose Ramirez legs. You don't have that. You are a fellow African athletic American. Yeah. So it's yours for the taking, Brian Norman. It's yours for the taking. How's the content looking, y'all? How's the content looking? Am I cooking? How am I cooking, man? Yeah, how's the content looking, man? Y'all are over here. Look, this whole live, right? This whole live stream. Whole live stream, whether it was behind the scenes over here or over here, there's been people in here. Still no comments, man. Let me look, man. You guys do not want to comment, huh? Yeah, 147 is Brian Norman Jr.'s for the taking, personally. Now, with that being concluded with that segment, right? Let me exit that off. Let's get to Boots Ennis now at 154, right? See how I did that? Did y'all peep how I did that, right? Did y'all peep how I did that, right? Matter of fact, before I go, let me see something real quick. Boots had the WBA and the IBF, right? At 47, also the ring. How's that going to work, right? Now, I text Bozy, but I know Bozy's in fight mode with his fighter. What is the plans? Hopefully, some of you guys that's out there that have the access, when you see Eddie Hearns and these media scrums, ask him what's the plan. Because I watched the interview. I don't think he said anything about the plans, though. Because with Boots vacating at 154, he could fight. Can he fight Baccarat? How does that work? Can he automatically move up and challenge one of those champions? So is the title shot in line? Let's try to look for an Eddie Hearn interview on this. Let's see if Eddie spoke on it. I didn't see it. We'll watch this together. Okay, so I'll show y'all this. So we'll look at this together. Pull this up. How's the content looking, y'all? How are we looking? So, according to interview right here, Fight Hype TV. I'll play a little bit of it. I'm not gonna go too in on it, right? Because these guys always be on some my content, right? But no, I don't think Fight Hype would be like that, right? Especially if I put my disclaimer up, right? Let me put my disclaimer up first. Fish, where is it? 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 Here we go, right? We put that up right there, right? Shout out to WCS and many others that have been schooling me today. And let me just say this quick, Jim. This ain't in my notes, but I'm gonna put it down. All you guys that put out content and you play music, maybe you don't have the right people around you advising you. Your channel's never gonna get monetized. Your channel will never get monetized. When you play like Mo3, DMX, Jay-Z, Nas, any of these rappers, music, your channel's never gonna get monetized. It's kind of, I don't know what you guys are thinking doing that. Like, it doesn't bring no value to your channel. If anything, it devalues it, right? Those songs are copyrighted. You can't do that. Maybe, I'll just give a free gem on that. So we'll play a little bit of this interview. We'll stop and go. But if you see that the thumbnail says Ron is moving up to 154, Ortiz, Raw on Devin, Davis, Cruz, Canelo, Crawford, and more. But Virgil Ortiz doesn't have a belt, does he? And he's a WBC champion, right? Well, let's listen to a little bit of it together.
Egg, grocery, and gas prices are going up. But getting an exam and x-ray at the dentist, that's now free for new Aspen.
Keyshawn. I think it's a difficult sport. making weight is difficult, but obviously when something happens like that, at that point it's about damage limitation for your client. All right, so you need someone to put the arm around him and say, listen, this is not a good look. And I think one of the problems was the reaction from Keyshawn about missing the weight, about really the feeling of, you know.
Yeah, he's valid. I told you that's going to come back to bite him in his ass. That was key. They asked him a question about Keyshawn. Let me drop this thing, right? They asked him a question about Keyshawn, right? So, remember, that's what Samson highlighted. How when he missed weight, his reaction. And everybody's talking about that. Everybody is talking about that. The reaction was, it was tasteless. I'm just gonna say that was tasteless. You shouldn't have reacted that way. You see, and that's still sticking around.
Devastation, if you like, about what had happened. I mean, basically, he'd lost his championship on the scales, a world championship that he'd dreamed about winning, and he'd missed the weight by 4.5 pounds. So it wasn't close. He didn't look like. I mean, I love Bob Arum because Bob won't even back his fighters. He'll just turn the screw on them, but he'll give it to you real. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't really hear me saying that because I'm always going to stand by you. I'm always going to have your back, right or wrong. Now, to your face, it might be a different conversation, but we're united. Do you know what I'm saying? And Bob came out and went, "No, he didn't look bothered." That terrible look.
Wow, you heard what he said with Bob, right? Bob was also 90 plus years old. Wasn't there. Bob reminds me of this man right here, right? You're an OG, right? You know how OGs carry it, man. When you get to a certain age, man, you are raw and uncut.
You keep talking, man, and you shut the fuck up.
Shout out to the late great Dick Gregory, right? But yeah, Bob is not gonna sugarcoat it, man. Bob has been in the game over 60 years, right? Top rank, 60 years in the game, right? And they put a lot of money behind Keyshawn. Keyshawn to do them like this. And not only is it an embarrassment, it's a liability, man. It's a liability. But it is what it is, man. If you know, you know. Right? If you know, you know, man. But I like Eddie being raw and uncut now. Some of you guys that are out there, man, you might, I don't know if you guys will be able to get this type of access because this is fight height from the biggest champion. If you can get this access, man, go for it. Eddie is raw and uncut.
But what was he doing? He's, you know, and I respect that as well, but it's not necessarily the strategy that I would take. But what I would take is I would put my arm around the kid and say, listen, we need to do an interview. We need to make a statement, but we've got to talk about what's happened. You can't be laughing. And when you come to the show, you can't be stuffing your face with food, having a laugh and fighting backstage and all that. Like, it just goes from bad to worse. But I don't know if that even happened, you know? Also, you have to take a lot of the responsibility.
How was that, man? See? Raw and uncut. I know this is supposed to be about Boots. We'll get to Boots, man. But that is another valid point, right? When he pulled up to the show, what did they do? They highlighted him eating popcorn. I think the worst hit was the attempted assault or alleged assault on Mr. Albright. That just was like, yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I know I've seen content creators saying that he shouldn't be reprimanded. The game needs him to do that. Listen, one thing about boxing, man. This is, nobody's bigger than the program, man. I know these guys try to talk about that shit with me, right? Oh, bum ass content niggas, man. Bums, right? No, nobody's bigger than the program. You niggas ain't even a part of the program. That's why you don't understand it. Nobody is bigger than the program. And if Keyshawn Davis is not disciplined or reprimanded for his actions, that might be the message that y'all are sending. But hey, what do I know, right? What do I know? But let's let Eddie continue.
To yourself, you're your own man, and you know, Keyshawn is a young man. Everybody makes mistakes, but his star was rising, you know, and it's come crashing down. But that's all right. It's life. He's a good man. He's a great fighter. I'm sure he'll be back. But right now, everyone's going to be wanting to put the knife in, and it'll be a rough ride for him over the next few months. And it's whether he's strong enough emotionally and mentally to deal with that criticism that's inevitably going to come.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm asking is, if he were signed to you, if you had a fighter who lost the belt on the scale, you know, unfortunately had return tickets because of it, and then had an incident like the one he had, is this something he can bounce back from with that promoter, or do you think it's over?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, look, you can bounce back from anything. I mean, like that, people have bounced back from a lot worse than what happened to Keyshawn.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would be doing if he was my fighter is I would be grabbing him gently on the shoulder and saying, what the fuck are you doing? And I would be telling him at the show but I would have dealt with it before then. Do you know what I mean? Because I would have had those conversations with him, and we would have experienced that moment together and dealt with the incident together and moved forward together, you know. But it's not something, you know, if he's my fighter, it's not something where I'm criticising him publicly. I'm criticising him face to face. Do you know what I mean? But that's where you have a relationship.
Damn, what's your angle on that, y'all? Like I said, Bob is 90. Bob is in his ways, man. But he's saying they should have took care of this in-house. Keyshawn made his bed. He has made his bed. Let's just see where this goes, man. Nobody is bigger than the program, though, man. Nobody is bigger than the program. How is the content looking, y'all? Been cooking
with the fighter, where you can have those tough conversations, especially with a young fighter.
Yeah.
Because they need guidance, you know. Like,
yeah.
And by the way, sometimes you don't know what's happening with people personally, like whatever. Sometimes you can be spiraling out of control a little bit, and it takes something small to make you implode. And maybe that's what happened backstage. Maybe like, you know, he's missed the weight, he's fucked up, he's going through it, and then he's this stuff about laughing and drinking and eating. Maybe that's like a reaction to, you know, and then he's having a fight, and he's like, wow, your whole career has spiraled out of control in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he's had that before when he had the failed tests. He came back, you know. But I've got to say as well, like,
Eddie's dropping some gems now.
These guys, these young guys, they get put into a life of camera lenses. Do you know what I mean? Where everyone's like, life changes for these people, and it's not easy. And I'm not making excuses for Keyshawn. I'm just telling you that it's not easy to start dealing with this newfound fame and stardom. And
that's a valid point. That is a valid point. I want to touch on that, right? But I'm gonna say this too for Keyshawn, right? The lights get bright, man. The lights were bright. But you're talking to a fighter named Keyshawn Davis. This is his name. I'm not gonna write this down. Who was an Olympian. And I want to touch on something that Eddie said, but add to it about with the failed weed test. Remember, Keyshawn had the incident with the Olympic team when he was removed from the team when he was brought back on. So can this be a pattern? You know, they talk about patterns. Oh, so it's a pattern. It's a pattern, right? Is this a pattern now? Can he fix this pattern? Right? Is this a pattern? Right? Fair question. What do y'all think?
Sometimes you can lose the plot a little bit and spiral out of control. And even when I saw Keyshawn at the Times Square event, it was a bit crazy. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like jumping up and down and being very. And Keyshawn's got a very infectious, great personality. But sometimes you just got to just realise life has changed, and you've got to behave a certain way now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's got to meet the moment.
Great, but now life has changed, and you're not that. You have a responsibility now to behave in a certain way.
You have a responsibility to behave in a certain way. Now that might go over a lot of the YouTube boxing community's heads, especially the guys that, you know, you're just on here. But he's right. When you level change, right? When you hit a different gear, you have to carry it different. See what Eddie Hearn said is the $1 million promoter. And I seen him at Times Square. See his assessment? See how he viewed him, right? He didn't view him. He still seen him as an out of control type of individual, right? Hopefully y'all caught that song. Did y'all catch that song? Did y'all catch that?
Hey guys, this is Tiana Tuimonteloa. I'm a top-ranked knockout, and I want to give a shout out to Sauce Talk Podcast.
Thank you. You know the vibes.
But look, he's a young man. Everyone makes mistakes.
Fair enough. You know, obviously there was talk for a long time. You know, he's been beaten, by Andy Cruz, somebody who's gonna fight in an eliminator this weekend on this card. And it was being positioned, right, at least in the boxing talk realms, as a fight that could be something that happens in the near future. With this weight miss, does it like put any sort of rush on that fight? Because we've seen in recent history, like Edgar waiting on Munguia, then Munguia takes the loss, that kind of gets cooked. Or Caleb not taking the Berlanga fight, and that fight loses a little steam. Is there any like need or in your mind to like try to make that fight happen sooner than later now?
I think that, you know, my biggest disappointment when I heard that Keyshawn was moving up was that he's not going to get to fight Andy Cruz. You know, I mean, the thing is with Andy is no one's going to want to fight him. So what you have to do is you need to make sure people fight him. Now, Andy and Keyshawn had so much potential because the storyline was incredible. The fans want to see that fight. And I felt we had a chance there to make a fight. Thankfully, he's in a final eliminator this weekend, which will see him be mandatory to Murataya to fight for the IBF World title. So we're in a great spot. But
how y'all feel about that fight, man? Murataya and Andy Cruz. Now, I think that fight, if he wins tomorrow, that's going to be an easy fight to make. You know why? Top ranking and Matchroom do business together, man. They do business together. But how do y'all view that fight, man? Do styles make fights? No, Raymond Murataya had problems with Tevin Farmer, slick boxer. Andy Cruz is a slick boxer, right? Counterpuncher, human fighter, skill set. How do y'all see that potential matchup? Maybe I put out some more content on that, especially if we see what Andy Cruz looks like tomorrow. I like that.
You know, Andy jokes that the real reason that Keyshawn is moving up is because he didn't want to fight Andy Cruz, because this weekend he puts himself in a position to fight all the big names at 135. So Andy Cruz is one of the best fighters in the world. It's a great fight against Mashiro this Saturday, and you know, looking forward to a big statement from him.
Gotcha. Just switching topics a little bit. You know, T.O. Boots, it was a thing. It was rumored. Didn't happen that way. Last time I asked you, it was probably in England, and you had told me at that time negotiations weren't even starting yet. Seems like it moved along, but it didn't work out. T.O. says Boots didn't accept. Can you clarify some of that for us?
It's just Boots is moving up. I mean, that's, you know, unfortunately after the Stanionis fight, he had his, you know, team around him, the doctors, the tests, and what they're basically saying is Boots is underperforming to his capabilities. You saw him on Fight Week. Like, it doesn't take a genius to see that it's hard work, right? And the amazing thing is he did that to Stanionis at 50% of his physical capabilities.
Did y'all catch that right there? Did y'all catch that? See, I was waiting for that, right? So they basically were saying that 147, right? That Boots, his team, the doctors, right? This is the Boots time now, man. We're gonna get to 154. He was underperforming because he was going through so much just to drop down and make the weight. Make 147. Now, I remember interviewing Boots a long time ago. I may clip that up and put that out. I was like, yo, how big do you rehydrate? I knew he was big then. Big 147. You know, I know these things because, like I said, I've been around big 147-pound fighters. Remember, the biggest at the time, aka Earl Spence. Remember, they used to call Earl Spencer weight bully, right? Because he was so big for 147. So I remember asking Boots that, like, yo, how big do you get? He didn't tell me. Smart, he didn't tell me. But I was like, yo, how big do you get? How big do you rehydrate? Like, but 154, here he comes. So he was underperforming what they're saying. Listen.
And what he's saying is, and his team is saying, sooner or later, I'm not saying you're going to get a Keyshawn moment, but you could either underperform in the ring.
Let's talk salary.
Great. What do you typically offer for this role?
It's competitive.
And if it was a number, it would be
a competitive number.
With Indeed, you can avoid awkward salary conversations from the start.
Whoa, a number.
Is it competitive?
Have a nightmare weight cut and it's just going to catch up with you. So it wasn't necessary. I loved the Tio fight and so did Boots, but it was like, can I perform to the best of my abilities at 147? And the answer is I can probably perform good enough to win, but not to the best of my abilities. So when you see Keyshawn, Boots at 154, you will see what I'm talking about. So it's very likely that those belts will become vacated. We're going to meet this week and make a final decision. But yeah, it's time to move to 54, and he's been unified at 47. Now it's time to try and become a 2-division world champion.
Gotcha. So moving forward, I mean, I don't know if, I mean, you would know better than me, obviously. If Boots is in a position to fight in the near future, there's been talk.
Yeah, August. I mean, they said to us, would you fight Virgil Ortiz in August? And we said yes. And then they come back and said Virgil wasn't ready for August. I said, look, we're happy. That's a brilliant fight, one of the best in the sport. And
so they was shooting for Virgil. See, we're watching this together. Possibly Virgil in August, but they came back and said Virgil wasn't going to be ready for August. Which I don't like the Virgil fight, not because it's Virgil. I'd rather see him fight for a belt, man. If you're giving up 2 belts, right? Why not fight for a belt? Not fight for a belt. And you're giving up 2 belts. Why not fight for a belt?
Virgil's a great fighter, and we're talking to DAZN at the moment. I think Boots will fight around August time, early September, and then we'll make the Virgil Ortiz fight now. I mean, I think it's a brilliant fight at 54. We want to be involved in all the biggest fights. Obviously, he wants to win a world title, and there's a good chance that Virgil may end up getting that championship. So yeah, all in for all the big fights with a real physically 100% Boots Ennis, which is a frightening proposition given the performance he gave against Danny Onis.
Gotcha.
Man, so they're sticking on that. So they're trying to say at 147, I got this in the notes right here. Boots Ennis wasn't performing at tip-top tier because the weight cut was so rough. But at 154, he's going to be a problem. Can't wait to see, man. I can't wait to see, man. I cannot wait to see. What's it going to be looking like for? Let's get to Bozy. Bozy's out here. Bozy also did an interview. Man, like I said, he works with what's her name? He did an interview with IFL right here. How was the content? Man.
This is Colin McGuigan for IFL TV. Delighted to be joined by Bozy Ennis in New York. Bozy, we're here for your man Andy Cruz. We've just heard that it's going to be for the final eliminator for the world title. What does this mean to you and Andy Cruz in the journey? Because this is quite quick for someone to be fighting this soon for a world title eliminator.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing, man. To have him in that position at this time, you know what I mean? And
Yo, hold on, let me stop it before I let Boldy talk. Boldy's moving. Now I want to know if the guys are going to give Boldy his flowers like they gave these other guys, right? Boots, right? Unified champion. Andy Cruz about to fight for a title eliminated. I think he has O'Shea Jackson, who's a female champion. So Boldy's stable is coming up. Gumbo said Boots should be fighting Brian Norman Jr. this September, October. Straight bullshit, Eddie. It's Norman Jr. that didn't want to fight. Lies is always the wrong way to the truth. Yeah, they remember when that fight, they tried to make that fight when he fought in Philly. And, you know, Brian Norman Jr. had a fucked up hand too. You know? And then, like I said, Top Rank had other plans for him too. But yeah, now that opportunity is out the door, man. With him going up to 154, that opportunity is gone now, man. But the good thing is that at least 147 wide open for Brian Norman Jr. I think he has it, man. If he's successful this Thursday.
It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a great fight, man. You know what I mean? But we gonna be victorious.
Posey, there's been a lot of talk about Andy Cruz and Keyshawn Davis, and I interviewed Andy. He spoke about everything that happened last week with Keyshawn from a trainer's perspective and more importantly from a father's perspective, how you treat Boots. How do you look at Keyshawn and everything that happened last weekend? Do you think he needs an arm around the shoulder and maybe someone in his ear that has a bit of experience in the sport to guide him the right way?
Well, I think Bomac and Crawford does a great thing with Keyshawn, but I don't know who else is in his ear. You know, it might be somebody else in his ear, but I think that situation that happened shouldn't never happen. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, it was because he didn't make the weight or didn't try to make the weight, and he felt some kind of way because that was D'Alessandro didn't want to fight him, he just got paid. So all that probably was building up in his head, and then his brother lose the fight. So all that played some kind of a role with that.
Do you look at Andy now and say,
let me stop it, man. See, I told y'all last week, you can rewind. I'm going to use Manager Marty's line. You can rewind the tape. I told you his actions was going to be a reflection on the B&B squad. Right? His actions. You see how IFL TV eggs Bozy? Do you think he needs somebody in his ear? You see what Bozy said he has? Bomac and what's name? I don't know who else is in his ear. So his actions. And like I said, I peeped that, man. You get so many content creators on here that are like what I call content groupies. They didn't want to speak on that. I spoke on it. I was like, yo, this shit doesn't look good. And remember, if my man CW and others were over here, I was like, yo, this don't look good for that team. This happened on their watch. This happened on their watch. Like they was in a full can. So it was just bad, man. But hey, what do I know, man? How was the content looking now? How we looking, man? Yo, there's been people in here the whole time. Shout out to Keyshawn. Hold your head.
Yes, this is the Sauce Talk with Keyshawn Davis. The Sauce Talk, okay. First off.
Yes, you definitely can bounce back, man. You're young. It's life, man. That's what life is called. Life is life, man. But you just learn from your experiences, man. Learn from your experiences, man. Learn from your experiences, man. But this is the source, man. Let's get back to Bozy.
Yes, we're very early on in his pro career, but he's ready to step in with Keyshawn Davis at a pro level next.
Well, right now, Andy's ready to step in there with any one of them. Right now,
you fancy him against all the big names at that weight?
Oh yeah, we ready to fight any one of them. and he one of the big names.
Is it fair to say, Bozy, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, that we won't see the best Andy Cruz until he's in there with someone of his level?
That's what everybody say though, but we're gonna keep on moving, man. You know what I mean? Whoever they put in front of us, that's who we're gonna take. You know what I mean? But I agree with you on that, because just like with Boots, you know what I mean? I'm just bringing it up. Somebody got to be on a real high level to bring that out of him. You saw a little bit when he fought Stanionis. Nobody never did that to Stanionis. He never quit, never got knocked down. You know what I mean? That's because he was another level up. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I like Bosey's style, man. Yeah, right? Bosey's official, right? Yeah. Shout out to all the fathers in boxing, right? You don't have to be a Bill Haney type to promote and market yourself. You just see how Bosey did that real smooth, right? The question was about Andy Cruz, right? Did y'all peep that? Yeah, did y'all peep that, right? The question was about Andy Cruz. But Bosey's real smooth operator. Threw in that we haven't seen the best of Boots either, because you know nobody brought out a Boots. Stanionis did a little. Maybe at 154 we will, man. You know he's up at 154 now.
Speaking about Boots, before I let you go, Eddie told me in an interview today that he's going to relinquish his titles at 147. The plan is to move up to 154. Eddie wants him to fight in Philadelphia in August or September, maybe against the Bohachuk. Is that a fight that you like? And is this move from 147 needed from Boots at this stage of his career?
Well, you know, him and Eddie have been talking, you know what I mean? Just like we've been talking, you know what I mean? It's up to Boots, you know what I mean? But I think Boots held that 147 for 10 years, man. So, you know, Boots is still growing. So I'll let you go on that.
You see him every day in the gym, though, and as his father, and not just his father, as his mentor, as his coach, you look at his body now and say, you know what, Boots, we have to move from 147 because it's becoming dangerous. And Eddie said, like, at some point, you know, you could end up, unfortunately, getting beat by maybe a Teofimo at 147 because you struggle at the weight.
When beaten by Teofimo, no. None of them.
Well, at this point,
yeah, but they try to slip that one in on Bosey, right? Y'all catch that, man? Bosey's still sharp, man. Yeah, Bosey said, no, not by Teofimo. Yeah, he tried to slide that one in quick. Did y'all catch that, man? He definitely tried to slide that one in. Say that Teofimo might have could have got Boots at 147. Bosey definitely was on point. Caught that like a wide receiver.
I understand what you're saying about the weight. The weight thing could be a problem at that time, you know what I mean? But
because a lot of people are saying that he turned down Teofimo, which Eddie ridiculed and said he never once turned down a fight against Teofimo.
Boots never turned down a fight against no one. You know what I mean? Just like I said, people be putting us up on the posters, and you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. And we don't know nothing about. Oh, he fighting Ortiz. Well, we've been trying to fight Ortiz at 147, and they never took the fight. You know what I mean? So what is they talking about? We never ducked nobody. You know what I mean?
In terms of the move to 154, Eddie said, you know, he sees Boots actually moving up 168 even. He said he can see that. Can you also see that?
I can see that. I can see Boots stopping at 160 or maybe 168. I can see that.
When you look at the names throughout the years, and we talk about someone like Terence Crawford, who's fighting Canelo, is that a fight that Boots goes, you know what?
Yeah, I can see that too. You know why? If you follow the Ennis family, it's in the notes right here. His brothers competed at that weight, middleweight. One of his brothers sparred with Triple G and those guys, 168. So I can see that. See that, man. It was a big welterweight, man. Very, very, very big welterweight, man. I definitely can see that too. But hey, what do I know, man? How is the content looking, y'all? How is the content looking now? Right? How is the content looking now?
Hey, this is Coach Larry Wade, IBL Champions. Hey, I train professional boxers, and you with Sauce Talk Podcast. You don't want to miss anything that he puts on here.
Appreciate you, champ. You know the vibe.
In the next 12 months, I want to fight Terrence after he fights Canelo?
No. Terrence already made the statement. Terrence getting them big fights like that and moving on out. He's not going to be there. Terrence ain't going to be there. You know what I mean? Terrence doing what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? Make the money and get out.
You like the Bohachuk fight for Butch next? Philadelphia homecoming again?
I like Bohachuk, whoever, when it come down with Boots. But that's a good guy to fight because what you call him 40?
Roger Ortiz.
And beat him.
Yeah.
I forgot what you call him name.
Ortiz.
Was it Ortiz?
Yeah, Ortiz.
Oh, yeah, Virgil Ortiz fought him.
Well, I think Ortiz fought him and beat him. Yeah, I mean, that's a good
And
fight.
eventually, then it's a crossroads between Butch and Virgil Ortiz down the line?
Yeah, but that's another good fight down the line. You know what I mean? But right now, you know what I mean? We test the waters as we move up. That's if we move up. Test the waters. We want to.
So there it is. That's what I was waiting to hear. So it doesn't look like he's going to jump straight in for a title shot. They want to test the waters, which is smart. Right? But did y'all pick up on this, right? Let's exit out of this now. Always come back over here. Looks like he's going to be having another homecoming fight. So, Philadelphia fight in August. How do you guys feel about that? Shout out to CW. I see you in the building. How do you feel about that? Because I know I heard the Normans, a lot of other people say that Boots doesn't leave his backyard. How do y'all feel about this? Is that what we just talked about? Is that becoming the pattern? That they're keeping Boots in his backyard, right? Now, the reason why I bring this up is, right, another fighter they did that with a lot, but when they did that with him, it was cool when they do it, right? You know who I'm speaking on now, right? Earl Spence. I just said my notes right here. I'm looking. How many times did EJ fight in Dallas, in Jerry's World? It was cool when they did it, right? Pay attention to that now, right? Who did he fight in Dallas, right? He fought damn near everybody, right? Mikey, right? Danny, Ugas, right? He was fighting in Dallas. Not to mention Ocampos, right? And he became a champion. It's all big fights. I think the only big fight as a champion, right? Big fight we're talking now was Crawford and Sean Porter, LA, Vegas. But the rest of his other big fights, champion fights, all in Texas, Dallas. And they was even trying to get the Crawford fight in Texas. He said Boots needs to fight somewhere else sometimes. He's a champion. Yes, but I'm just saying, CW, right? Earl Spence did it. It was cool when they did it. It was cool when they did it, right? And a lot of times, I look at things on the business standpoint too. They are maximizing the dollars, right? Because he has a large fan base that always comes out and supports him. If you've ever been to any of his fights in the Philadelphia region, from Atlantic City, they are coming up there. And that's what the promoters is all about, maximizing the money. I think he can fight other places. He has. When he was on the PBC for another regions, it's about building them up. But I just think that they are maximizing the potential dollar, which leads me to this right here. Pay attention. I am cooking. I'm one of the best at this, y'all. I got to give my own self the flowers, right? Now, I want to bring something up, and this ties in. Let me get my marker, right? So I know my marker, so when I can use this, so I'm going to clip this, use this clip, right? Definitely going to use this, right?
a person who can go on the road and sell the building.
There we go. It's a simple definition.
Simple. I'm going to see that person, right?
So you ain't talking skill on the court. That's it. You talk about
draw.
Box office.
Stephen A.
You got to be
Magic's in town. You're going to the game.
Yeah, a superstar got to say, man, or you running home from the office and saying, oh, I got to see him on TV. They got to lead you to the championship. They got to lead you to the.
Now, I agree with Magic, but I'm going to tie this into the ball, right? That was Magic. Shout out to Magic, Irvin Magic Johnson, saying be a superstar. Have to bring them out when you go on the road. Tank Davis has that stigma. He sells out wherever he goes, right? Canelo Alvarez, same thing, right? He sells out wherever he goes. He's the big draw. I just talked about Earl Spence, too. They tried to say that, but I just showed how he always fought at home. CW just questioned about that as well. My thing is this, me, marketing agent, Shot News, Boxing, LLC, No Jealous Fans on Inc. In order to build up a star, I feel like Magic Johnson, you have to hit the road. And when you hit the road, especially when you're not home, when you're in somebody else's backyard, or you're, moving and grooving, sliding, like I like to say, sliding and gliding, the people gotta want to come out and see you. They gotta want to come and pull up. You gotta be must-see TV. See, I know these things. I've been on the road, man. I pull up content when I was in the field dealing with the people. Shout out to my Ohio players. Shout out to the Tulsa, Oklahoma guys in different regions, North Carolina. When I pull up, I get a sense of the people, read the people, not sitting online in the shadows online. Like a lot of you guys be online and you think you doing something. What regions have you actually touched? This is not a region. This is smoke and mirrors. See, a lot of you guys that think you know what to do or do what you do, don't even leave your living room. Don't even leave your room. But you feel like you have a sense of the people in different regions. How? Because you sit on a computer around others that's like you, sitting on a computer, you're not outside, and the ones of you that do go outside, you work for free. Work for free. But Magic Johnson was spot on. And that goes with any sport, not just basketball. I think that you have to. You come to different towns. Must be must-see TV. People want to pull up. And like I said, Tank Davis has established he has that. Canelo Alvarez as well. Right? That is part of the formula. But if we look, now I had this in my notes, I gotta put this in here. When it comes to boxing, and maybe this is a boxing thing, but I get it because they want to maximize the money. But look what we just witnessed. Keyshawn Davis fucked up a hometown fight. I think boxing more so suits. They try to maximize the money, and they always want to bring the fighter where they're from. And I say this respectfully, to bleed that market. Y'all following that? Y'all catching this source? Or I need to dumb it down and remediate it. So a lot of times when you see these fighters, look, Richard Hitchens, right? Break him down since he's fighting now. So try to dumb it down for you. Richard Hitchens is a Brooklyn guy. Tomorrow night he's fighting where? Real Theater, New York. It's a hometown fight. He also has another New Yorker on that card to help sell the tickets. Pablo. So I just think this is a boxing thing. They love to have the guys fight where they're from because it ensures them, the promoters I'm speaking on, being able to move and sell tickets. Did you guys catch that? How is the content looking that we're cooking? I've been on for an hour, almost 40 minutes. Thank you, CW. He said the source is spot on, my brother. Thank you. You know, we're doing a couple new things over here. But I definitely wanted to put that in because I seen that and I was like, damn, that is the exact form of Magic is right. And you know what I can relate to that? Because like I said, I used to be a Knicks season ticket holder, and there were certain ball players, whether it was Iverson, Shaq, the late great Kobe, LeBron, right? That you know you can make a lot of money off of when they come to town. Because the people are going to want to come see them. So your ticket prices with $260, you might can sell it for $450, $500. That's $1,000 for the pair, right? Because these guys are must-see TV. People are going to pull up to see them. They're not going to say, oh, that ticket's too much. No, they want to see these guys, right? Are you guys following that formula, right? How is the content looking now? Gumbo says, that's why I've been staying away from the boxing. Too much fighters acting like stars, and they ain't nothing but lucky charms. Damn. It shouldn't matter after 30-something fights. They say a lot about Boo's career, and I'm not hating just fact. Well, Boo's been fighting local forever, though, man. He was rest in peace to the late Cameron Duncan. That's how he was brought up. Man. If you know the late great Cameron Duncan's formula, you know, he moved Terrence Crawford, he moved Timothy Bradley, Brian Norman Jr., as well as Boots. These are all regional fighters. He built them up in their regions. You know, it's just boxing. That's how boxing is, man. You know, it's a boxing thing, man. I'm telling you, it really is, man. Boxing, and I that's why I said it respectful. They bleed the community dry. You know, guys are gonna fight where they're from. The promoters know it's easier for them to market, promote, and sell tickets, especially if the fan base sells. Yes, you're correct, Gumbo. But look, when Crawford pay attention to this, Gumbo. A lot of Crawford's big fights, big blockbuster fights. Before now, not the Crawford that we know now, right? When he fought Gamboa, which was a big fight, it was that fight at Gumbo, Nebraska, Omaha. That was a big fight for him. Gamboa, Omaha. When he fought the dude that he's cool with now, the Benavidez dude, right? That fight was where? Omaha, once again, right? So they all do it, Gumbo. They all do it, right? When he fought David Avanesian, BLK joint. Where was that fight at? Omaha. Yes, when he fought for the world title, Gumbo, yeah, you have to do what you gotta do to get the world title, but I think you're missing what I'm proving to you, right? When these guys become champions, right? Where are they maximizing their dollars at? Their backyard. Gamboa, Omaha. David Avanesian, Omaha. Jose Benavidez Jr., Omaha. These were all hometown fights for Terrence Crawford, right? When he fought Julian Adongo, was that fight in Omaha too? We can look it up. I'm telling you, I think a lot of his big fights. Now, when they tried to move him, right? Now, I noticed because I was at a lot of those fights in the city, and they were saying that he didn't sell, right? He fought Hank Lundy in New York. He fought Amir Khan in New York. He fought the Mean Machine in New York. And that's when, you know, Bob and them were trying to say, oh, he don't sell. He doesn't sell, right? Well, maybe it was because you guys, like, he wasn't promoting them and marketing. Because whenever he had big like big fights. You tried to bleed his market dry. Gamboa was a big fight at that time, right? Remember, Gamboa was a hitter before Bud clipped him. A lot of people thought Bud was going to lose there, right? I remember Gamboa was being moved by who? 50 Cent. 50 Cent used to be Gamboa's manager. Do y'all remember that? Do your research on that, man. For those y'all gonna watch this, try to run with my source. Do your research on that. 50 used to move Gamboa. 50 Gamboa was manager, right? But that was a big fight. That was in Omaha. Poster, I don't know. I think he fought Poster somewhere in the West Coast. Let's look that up real quick. We can look that up. Let me pull that up, man. I don't think he fought Poster at home. I know he fought the dude Julius Odongo. He fought Odongo at home. A lot of his big fights was in Omaha, man. We'll look it up right now. Where is Box Fight? Let's look this up together, y'all. Let's look this up together, y'all. Pull up the box, right? CW said Omaha. Yeah, he had a lot of fights in Omaha, man. That's what boxing, does, man. They're gonna put you on in your section. I was talking to Joe Dini about that yesterday. I was like, yo, that's why Spanish fighters, they love to push the Spanish fighters because their people support them. Their people support them, right? It's at the browser. Let's try it again. Y'all see that now? Y'all see that now? All right, I want to look where Victor Postol fight was. David Avenese in Omaha, look, see? Gordon, I told you the Gordon, right? Bang. That was Mean Machine. That's Amir Khan. Wow, man. Boxrec does this a lot, man. Yeah, see, Jose Benavidez in Omaha. Odongo was in Lincoln, which is Nebraska, not Omaha. Felix Diaz, see, look, John Molina, Omaha, right? See, that's what they do, man. Look, right here, Dean Jerry, Omaha, man. Look, Omaha, Gumbo, Gumbo's on the other side, man, damn. But look, Gumbo, Omaha. These are Gamboa, Omaha. Right here, Beltran, Omaha, right? See, I didn't even know all those, man. That's what they do. That's what the game, this boxing game does. You said Victor Postol. What do you find Postol? There's Victor Postol. MGM Grand Vegas. That was Vegas. That's what, remember, they said he did not sell. Yo, see, you can't place that on a fighter, man. You just keep a fighter in their backyard, right? Like one. How many of these was in his backyard, man? That's why when I see what they doing with Boots, it's like, you know, man. Look, one, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Here's the Ricky Burns fight. So look, when he became Gumbo, this is for you now, Gumbo. He fought Ricky Burns, became the champion after defeating Ricky Burns. 7 fights in the Omaha, Nebraska, Lincoln area. 7 fights, Gumbo. That's what they do. That's the formula. They are going to maximize the dollar where you're from. I just talked about that with Earl Spence. Earl Spence, only 2 fights, big fights outside of Dallas was who? Crawford and Sean Porter for the title one. Man, I'm cooking today, CW. CW said I was cooking. But I didn't even have that in my notes. Let me check that off, man. Thank you for bringing that up, Gumbo. But look, that just proved my point, what I was just saying. He fought Ricky Burns, became the champion, and he had 7 fights in his backyard, basically. Man. Damn, we are cooking today, man. That was the show, man. That was the show, man. Closing in on my 2-hour mark, man. I said I was going to do 2 hours, man. I did 2 hours, man. It's an hour and 50 minutes. I'm ready to go get something to eat, man. I heard. No, 2 hours, man. I get y'all 2 hours of heat, man. Solo dolo too, right? Just I gotta front on my people, man, to show them like, come on, man. These dudes, you put these guys in position, man. These guys can't swim with me. These guys buy views. These guys don't know what they're speaking on. When they're in the presence of the fighters, their content is dry, right? That's why a lot of these guys are dry haters, right? Their content is dry, man. They not look. I'm gonna just show y'all. They didn't want to put my shit out, right? This is what they do. When you put out quality content, right? They always about, yo, we got better quality content. They didn't want to put my stuff out, right? So I put it out for you. Look, 27 views, right? But look at the energy on this. Can y'all see this? Only 27 views, right?
Join us to uncover future boxing star Abdullah Mason's journey and motivation.
With J Prince Boxing speaks so highly on you. You have so many others speaking highly on you, saying that, you're the next one, man. What does that feel like, being so young and having guys that, established like Shakur and speak highly on you?
If I feel like I'm doing the right thing, and I had the right people around me.
Yeah.
You just gotta stay focused and don't let it get to my head. I'm ready. And, we're gonna stay that way.
Definitely. Like I said, coming off that last performance, what can we expect from you this time around? Last time, man, you was sharp with the tools, man. You broke down a strong, gritty fighter with some impressive body punches and got the stoppage late. What can we expect Saturday night, man, tomorrow night?
I'm gonna get in there and have fun. I'm gonna do me.
Yeah.
If a stoppage come, that's what I'm gonna try to get, inshallah, and I'm gonna just go in there and do my job like always.
Yeah. And another thing, I always gotta commend you, man. Like I say, the Sauce, man. The uniforms is always fly, man. Can we get a little preview how you gonna come out styling them all, what colors, things of that nature? Because you be styling on them out there.
Should I give them a spill? You give them a spill? Y'all go see tomorrow.
Okay, definitely.
I'll let you know once this camera turn off.
Okay, definitely. And y'all, another thing I like to ask guys like you, right now, it's a young kid, probably gonna be at the fight tomorrow, especially Ohio kids, definitely Cleveland kids, they look up to you, man. Tell them what it takes, man, the discipline, the sacrifices, the things you got to do to reach this level of, boxing.
Yeah, it take focus. The harder you work, the better results you get. So
yeah,
stay focused, man. Just work hard. Keep the right people around you.
Yeah.
Join us to uncover future boxing star Abdullah Mason's journey and motivation.
Yeah, they really be trying to shadow ban.
Tonight's plan. Join us to uncover future.
This is the Sauce with the. Let me get them all in here. The Mason mob right here. Shout out to the Cleveland, Ohio's finest, the Mason brothers. First off, man, shout out to Abdullah Mason, man, coming off a sensational performance on that big card, that Devin Haney card. Now you're back, a little ways up the road, Toledo, but all in all, Ohio, man. Just describe what it feels like to be fighting, you know, pretty much in your backyard, man.
Man, it's amazing. You know, I'm looking forward to, you know, my people coming out, watching me, you know, and them having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you got a lot of high praise, man. Shakur Stevenson.
He is going to be the next one that they will definitely be moving him in his region, man. They will definitely be moving him in his region. But shout out to Abdullah Mason. Classic vintage sauce right there. I still got some more to release what I want to. You know what made me really do that, right? I seen pawns and puppets and agents. You know, they interviewed Abdul, and I was like, come on, man. All your views, you don't have a view like this, man. All your views, you don't have nothing like this. You talk to fighters and give them the creep. They're not comfortable around you. They don't want to open up around you. You see the connection I had, not only with Abdul, with the Mason mob, like I call them, the brothers, man. Right? And like I said, I have since transformed and do many other things, right? But that is how you conduct an interview, right? But that is how he did not want to tell me on camera what he told me, because he knew that I was cool, right? He felt the vibes. He said, yo, when you get off the camera, I'll let you know the uniform. Because he see I picked up on these things. Like, you're a fly dude, man. You come in the ring fly, man. It's the uniform on me, man. But more importantly, my favorite question that I asked him, and this goes back to what I was talking about earlier when I was out there selling my hat, right? I told him, give the youth, the kids coming up underneath you, let them know what it takes, the discipline, the sacrifice that you gotta make to make it to this level. Now, a lot of you guys that watch my content in the bushes, like CW said, window shopping, hiding, feel some type of way. But I've been to that level. I gotta fight it to that level. Right? So I always want to ask these fighters to share that experience, because when I speak on it, you jealous niggas, sorry niggas at that, was supposed to be fans, be mad when I share my experience. But you know what I say to y'all? Do you know what I say to y'all? Fuck all of y'all with a sick dick and continue to watch me stay in the mix and get to the motion. How is my content looking now? Salute to everybody. Happy Friday. Shout out to all the fathers. Enjoy your weekend. Drink responsibly. You know, enjoy your weekends, man, for fathers that take care of business. Shout out to all the grandfathers, right, and the elders. But this is the Source Experience, the news, especially media marketing management, selling agent, man. 15%, man. Yeah, it's 15%. One up an extra 5, man. So as you can see, I was on ESPN once again, man. So we're doing big things. Don't lose sight of this right here. I'm gonna close the show how I started it, right? Because I want to let you guys know something. Tongue is power, right? A lot of people might have an opinion on you,
Lock in your vision. Let persistence and belief defy criticism and challenges.
Yes, the news by Shanu. So I want to drop a pre-recorded video before I start the live stream podcast. I had the joint. You know, we've been expanding on the content, just putting out different type of videos and content. So Tyler Perry, you see the board right there. I could interview. I didn't hit the mark for me, right? It talked about, you know, being locked in basically on your vision. You be safe out there on the roads, not locking out the naysayers, the haters. Safe out there on the road. The people that always kill the content crabs, just the people that don't see your vision. Take your glasses off, put them back on your vision. Right? Working, man. Now, you know, when you get locked in on your vision and you talk things into existence, I know I have talked a lot of things into existence. Media marketing management, yes. I'm a young manager, a young agent. I do a lot of things behind the scenes, but I spoke that into existence. I did. I spoke it even when the people that was supposed to support didn't support. I didn't care. I just kept throwing it in their face and speaking on it. They always try to critique the content. When I was in the basement. How's the content looking now? How's the setup look now? I started off on one of these. Now, a lot of you guys can't even afford my company to cover your events. Yeah, because I don't work for free. I'm sorry. I have a catalog that speaks volumes. So why would I work for free, right? Hopefully y'all caught that source. But once again, shout out to Tyler Perry. I'm going to share the video. Great insight on tunnel vision. Stay locked in. I know that's hard. And the tongue speaks power. I know that's hard. You have options. How is the content looking now?
If you have a mindset and a mentality of what you cannot have, you never will. Yeah. If you are able to adjust it, no matter where you came from, no matter what your people said to you, no matter how bad it was, none of that matters. If you can get your mind around a dream, a goal, a possibility, it will become your life. I am sitting here, I'm getting chills talking to you guys. I'm sitting here as a living witness. I'm telling you, there's no reason other than the grace of God that I'm sitting here in the position that I am in today.
It'll become your life.
Unlock your vision, speak it into existence. Live your dream.
Lock it.
Yeah, that right there was so powerful, man. I had to end the live stream with that, man. It will become your life. And then all you gotta do is just come on here and throw it in their face, man.
This is your boy Jamel Simplify Herring, and I'm with the best in the world, the best from Long Island, the Sauce Talk Podcast. Hey, we doing big things. Shout out to everybody out there in LI as well. Simplify, salute.
Yes, you know the vibes.
Yes. Yes, man. Salute, man. This is the Sauce Experience. The news by Shonda, media, marketing, management, consultant, agent. You know, you do have options, man. Once again, man, how is the content looking now? How is the content looking now, man? Did we step it up for y'all? Did we step it up?
Like, subscribe, and hit that